As if one Don wasn't enough, we now have 3. Let's talk about the other 2. Donald Sherfey Sr. and Don Sherfey Jr. It all kicked off during the week with the Sherfeys. I'm sure most of you have seen some piece of content on it. There's been a lot of content on it over the past few days. Caminali from Cracking Cases first made a video on it and on some of their research, and then the following day Michelle made one, and a lot of people picked up Michelle's kind of video and ran with that night. Now Michelle wasn't taking anything from Caminali's video. Michelle was actually sitting on this information for a few weeks. They were talking about it in our Facebook group. You don't need to be following anyone else other than Michelle to keep up to date on this case. Please go and watch our last 4 or 5 videos on our channel and you can kind of see this coming out and the story behind it. And if you prefer longer streams, check out Caminali's. I'll link both of them below. But it's interesting that both of them separately came upon Don Sherfey Jr. Like I said, Michelle had been on about him for a week or 2 back in our Facebook group, and Caminali started looking into his dad, Senior, when he approached the heels on the ground, because they just thought his demeanour was kind of odd, and that's how they came across the son. So what's the story with him? What's the story with Junior? He's the son of Don Sr. Don Sr. now lives with his long-term girlfriend and her mother. I'll show a map here, so it's very close. Just around the corner from the Wells. The girlfriend is not Don Jr.'s mother. However, she is the long-term girlfriend, we think since 2008, of his dad. So he's been there a lot over the years. However, he didn't grow up there, which I think is important. And I think he would have been about 14 or 15 when his dad first went out and started staying in his girlfriend's house. He said he still only stays there on weekends, but I'm not so sure about this. I think he's pretty much there permanently now. But back to when his son was 14, I don't think he was going with him when he was going out there on weekends. I think he was delighted to be left at home without his dad. I had a friend growing up in a similar situation and we all loved it. Free house for the weekend. We would go over, watch football, drink some beer, happy days. But the big issue with Don Jr. is he's a P. His dad says he, quote, made a mistake, but I think it's a bit more than that. He got caught with thousands of images, well, up to 1,000 images. He was sending these images or receiving them on Instagram and Snapchat. They traced back his IP, caught him fairly easily. And he got out on a 10k bond a month before Summer went missing. And there's been lots of questions over the last few days. Was he going out to see his dad and his stepmom and stepgrandma that day? Was he there that day? Did he have an ankle bracelet on because he was out? Does this have GPS? Did he even know Summer? His dad, the 2 Dons actually, Don Wells and Don Sherfey, have been on live streams slamming each other the last few days. Lots of lies flying from both of them. Sherfey saying he doesn't know Andy, doesn't know Jody Sue, which I think is weird. He does know who they are. I know he knows who they are because I've heard him talk about them before. Yet again, this is another example of people not wanting to talk about Andy. But one thing he did say that I thought was interesting, and I thought he was telling the truth, was that he's seen a few times the kids down the road playing on the road. He's seen Summer down on the road playing on the road. Did his son see Summer down by the road playing on the road? Here's the clip of him saying that.
Don and Candace are both liars. Don Wells made the statement that he taught his children not to leave his property, and that's a crock of bull because we've been in and out there many times and have to stop in the middle of the road so they could get out of the road where they've been playing in the road. And that includes Summer, when we've seen her before she went missing. They ride their dirt bikes up and down the road. They've been on my girlfriend's neighbor's property. We had to notify them. I mean, they think they own the whole place up through her.
I do believe him on that, and I think it's very, very interesting. It's interesting that he would even pass them. I thought initially when I looked at it that he wouldn't drive anywhere past where the kids might be playing down by the creek or the road, but clearly he does. Did his son ever pass by and see Summer on the road? It also gives us a bit of a clue, a bit of a hint that Summer and the kids maybe did wander a bit further than we all thought, playing with their dirt bikes down on the road. They were a bit wild, they were. The second thing that he said, and I couldn't believe when he said it, I still can't believe it, is his son was never even questioned by the TBI. And people have been saying, well, maybe he did have the ankle tag and they would have looking at it that way and seen by his GPS that he was nowhere there, but he was still on that road a lot. He has connections and ties to the area. They should still be reaching out just to even ask him, did he ever see Summer and the kids playing down by the road? Never mind the fact that he's just been caught with a large amount of CP. Do we give the TBI more credit than they deserve? Why haven't they talked to him about this? Does the TBI know things that we don't know? Yes, absolutely, of course they do. But I'm getting increasingly concerned that they were too focused on the Wells initially and didn't chase up the abduction theory. We have no evidence of abduction. They said this numerous times. But absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. I think any good cop or detective is well aware of that. There seems to be a problem with them clearing the parents. Don, Candace, Grandis, none of them have been cleared, but they can come out and say it wasn't an abduction. The footprints that were found and picked up on seem to be dismissed a bit by the LE, and most people in general seem to kind of brush over this because it doesn't fit at all with their narrative that an accident happened. I don't know, and maybe they do have some massive incriminating evidence and the Wells or Candace will be arrested soon. I hope for their sake that they do, because if they don't have strong evidence leading them back to the Wells, refuse to clear their name and say it's not an abduction, then they have failed Summer. And it feels like something is going to blow in the next week or two with this. We have Summer's birthday coming up. We have Don in court again next week, probably going to get locked up. But the two biggest things that I've taken away from the last few days is Summer and the boys were down on the road playing regularly. It seems they were spotted. People had to get out of the car and tell them get off the road. And the other thing is the TBI don't seem to be chasing up leads from the area. Don't seem to be contacting CPs who have close ties to the area, which is madness. And both of them point towards maybe why we don't know where Summer is, why we don't have any answers, is because she was taken down by the road, she was down by a plane by the road, and the TBI, for one reason or another, didn't go into it, look into it 100%. I hope not. But that's the feeling. Thanks to all my patrons and everyone who signed up for the YouTube membership over the last few days. Really appreciate it. Good luck, God bless, have a good day.